John Doe versus the town.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's John Doe.
That's the John Doe case.
So it is all the John Doe.
Yeah.
That's John Doe.
It's all the same case?
Yes.
Every one of these files is the same case?
Yes.
Who happens
I mean,
to work
it-
for the department?
Pardon me?
No, just kidding.
Yeah. That's when I looked at it, when I saw that, I'm going, wait a minute.
That's what I was thinking too, is it can be department or...
Yeah, no, that's the
So
John.
that is the John Doe
John Doe.
case.
John Doe.
Okay.
His wife
Okay.
Jane.
It is John Doe.
His wife Jane.
Any further discussion on legal bills?
No, I'm all set.
Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Unanimous. Let's see, we got 7:45. 7:45. We have RMLD? Yes, sir. In accordance with Chapter 166 of Massachusetts General Laws, a public hearing will be held by the Board of Selectmen in Route 14 Town Hall, 235 North Street, North Reading, on Tuesday, January 2nd, 2001, at 7:45 p.m. on the joint petition of Reading Municipal Light Department and New England Telephone and Telegraph Company to locate a pole on Central Street as described on RMLD Plan number 1840, dated November 7th, 2000. Members have copies of the plan. We have no objections from the town engineer or any other department. And we have representing the phone company, sir, again?
Ken Evans, Reading Light Department.
Ken?
We're in the process of upgrading any of the lines and poles on Central Street. And at present, we have a guy wire that's into a tree. And the tree is kind of seen better days, so we're going to replace the tree guy with a pole guy. That's why we're requesting this pole
So you're moving it
location.
6 feet to get away from the tree?
Yes.
Public hearing, is there anybody wish to speak at the public hearing, the matter before us regarding the request of Reading Municipal Light and New England Telephone and Telegraph Company? Hearing none, we'll close the public input portion of the public hearing and open it to members of the board. Does the board have any questions, further questions, or discussion? No?
I'm all set. I think they're just moving it 6 feet to clear the pole, clear the tree and use a guide wire instead of a tree.
Okay, accept the motion. Mr. Baker.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve a joint petition of Reading Municipal Light Department and New England Telephone and Telegraph Company to locate a pole on Central Street as shown in Plan Number 1840 dated 11/7/2000.
Second.
Motion duly made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Unanimous. Excellent presentation.
Thank you.
Right on schedule.
You would be pleased to know. Because you wrote the vote.
Yeah, I know, yeah, really. I read it too.
Ready?
Yeah. So let it go. Okay, what's next?
Right, the next order of business on the agenda is the discussion again of a matter which was before the board several months ago, where Mr. Caruso, Mrs. Caruso were looking to donate a parcel of land on Elm Street for conservation purposes. And I know the board had some concerns relating to the covenant and deed restrictions, which grantor was looking to be putting on the restrictions. We had, again, town administrator go back to the Conservation Commission to discuss it, and one of the issues was as far as the maintenance of the property and the site vision, or whatever it was that they were calling for. Maintain it, make sure the DPW had authorization to do so, and wouldn't have difficulties from the conservation agent or anybody if we were to accept the land. You want to just give us an update as to that goes, Mr. Younger?
The Conservation Commission, speaking with Agent Trudeau, is quite comfortable with allowing the DPW the jurisdiction to go as far as the clearing of the vegetation, the sight lines, and leaving within their purview. Obviously, they'll look at it and walk the site, but they're very comfortable allowing the DPW the control and access to be able to clear the sight lines and such. As far as the stipulations and restrictions in there, they're fully comfortable with it.
Mr. Smith?
Yeah, when I read the letter from town council, it indicated that if in fact it was real estate taxes due, and we all know naturally you should pay whatever due taxes are due. But the other stipulation put in there that we should check for contaminants under 21E, and I'm not interested in doing any 21E studies on that property. That's been there since Adam was a puppy. And it's, if there's contaminants there, they're there, but I can't even begin to imagine what could possibly be there that would, that we would have to hire somebody. It would cost us more to do a 21E study. So I would recommend the board that we pass on that and move and accept the property under the guidelines of town council.
So some of the other suggestions by town council I thought were pretty noteworthy and worth looking into as far as
That's one of them.
some of the restrictions and what they should be. The other thing is in relation to the use of the property down the road, and the Mass General laws which cover conservation property, which requires a 2/3 vote of the legislature, both the House and the Senate, in order to change care, custody, control, is something that I would like to see the town retain the option of doing, because it is a pretty hefty hurdle to get over. But if it's truly in the town's best interest to do something, we shouldn't preclude ourselves from doing that. I don't know if that's an objection, something that's so objectionable that Mr. Caruso would not offer the property up to the town. But I think there's some noteworthy suggestions that we should follow through on. And again, I'm not so sure about the 21E myself either, but it's
No, like I said, I go along with the rest of their recommendations, but I think we should pass on the 21.
Mr. Vino.
If I may, unfortunately, Mr. Smith, I don't agree with that, because it's a known fact if it can happen in North Reading, it will. And he is recommending that we do have a check before we...
Well, a lawyer is always going to recommend something like that.
Well,
so-
and that's why we hired him to protect the town.
It was the same thing when we took the land over here next to the Berry Center. We acquired that land with no 21E study that the recreation is playing on right
I'm
now.
just saying
We
my
passed
thought.
on that, and if you follow everybody's advice all the time, you can get awful costly. And I'm not saying it's not good advice, and it's the type of advice they should tell us about, but I think it's up to the board to
No, I agree.
apply
I
common
agree.
logic and...
I agree.
whether or
But
not-
I personally will say that without that study, I won't be in favor of it, because I'm just not going to take the chance. I mean, I never thought they'd build a house in that area either, to be very honest with you, so I'm not going to take that chance. Also, town council does recommend we purchase that for $1, from what I've read. There's too many what-ifs in this. Right now, I'm not comfortable with accepting it under these conditions, because there's so many items been brought up by town council. And like he says, he hasn't even seen I believe he says he hasn't even seen the deed yet. It could probably be more restrictive once he sees this. And really, I'm not comfortable with this.
That's the other thing, too. I think they suggested a title rundown and a few other things.
I think we should do all those things. The only thing I'm recommending is that we pass on the 21E study because it's too costly.
I am not even in favor of taking it with all these stipulations on it. I'm not personally.
Okay.
It doesn't say how much he's allowing to be cleared for site easement. My question is, should DPW be burdened with that project? I granted, it's probably only twice a year, but, you know, there's too many what-ifs here for me.
Mr. Young, you had a comment?
Yes, I'm just concurring with Mr. Smith there, is that generally when we put a request into council regarding any purchase, the 21E is an automatic suggestion they always place.
Yeah.
They always place it on there, doesn't mean always. Mr. Rowe?
Well, I agree on, I'm not sure about the hazardous material site assessment, but I do agree with the rest, and I think most of the stuff is what we brought up in the past, there's too many catches to this thing that they want to give us, and I'm very concerned about the reserved easement and the right of reverter charitable trust. I mean, that sounds like we're getting into something that if something happens, they can take it back and so on and so forth. So I think it should be certainly, we should look through it, but I would also like to see that the person that wants to donate this land be responsible for clearing these things up, that we should send this back to him and tell him to clear these things up, and then we'll consider it, instead of having our attorney have to go through all of this stuff and try and clear all these things up. Send them back and say, these are the objections that we have as to receiving the property as it is, and to, you know, change these sections to our satisfaction, and then we'll consider it.
Mr. Bagan?
Yeah, one of the questions that our attorney brought up is, are there any taxes owed on this?
We would review that before we formally.
Okay. And I agree that there are, you know, too many stipulations, which we obviously went over at our last meeting, and quite frankly, quite a few of the arguments that we have are in the lawyers' counsel's suggestions here. I also agree that, you know, if we purchase this and there's a problem there, and it comes out later because there's another 100-year storm or something, and all the seepage goes into the Ipswich River, it may never happen. But anybody who would get the proposed people that he put this, or was going to put this property out to, the Audubon Society, anybody like that, would be doing the same thing as our lawyer suggests to us. So I would be, you know, for making sure that any of the conditions that the lawyers put in are met.
Again, my only concern in relation to this particular parcel is based upon prior discussions of the board and some board members' knowledge as far as that particular site, as a lot of it having been filled over the years, and it wasn't, since Adam was a puppy, but just before he was puppy, it was filled, you know. Just before that. You know, filled with what, you know,
Well, it was, in fact, I filled part of it. I worked for the contractor in that area, and I know most of it was gravel and stumps. I don't believe there was any construction material or anything that was dumped there, but I do know I personally worked for him at the time, and we dumped boulders and gravel and stumps, and that was, at the time, it was perfectly legal. So I know it has been filled now. I'm not sure if any of the
You're showing your age, if that was before Adam was a puppy.
area, well, I was only a youngster then.
Yeah.
If any of the area that he's donating to the town is part of that filled area, I'm not sure, I don't know.
It's the same fill area that they told us was never filled.
Well, I don't know, I mean, there's no question that whole area where that house lot was filled. There's no question about it. But I don't know if that house lot takes in the whole filled area. And the area that we're getting is unfilled. I don't know that. I'm not sure.
What is the interest of the board in acquiring this parcel? If we have an interest, we should pursue it a little bit further, find out what it costs for 21E, so we can have that information to weigh, a study if that's what the wishes of the board are, or are we not interested in at all? Personally, I think it's a piece of land that does abut the Ipswich River. I think we all expressed our concerns and interest as far as